Good morning, or good afternoon, and good evening. Here is your Africa unit exam. Please begin by typing your first and last name and choosing whether you are a social studies or pre-AP social studies student. And let's get started. Number 1, during the 1800s, European nations began to compete for the control of Africa. Each nation wanted the biggest or richest colonies for its own use. Why were the Europeans so interested in Africa? Because African cultures were diverse and Europeans wanted to learn about them. Because of the new medicine they found in Africa. Because Africa had a wealth of natural resources, including coal, oil, and gold. Or because the Mediterranean Sea was too large. Number 2, what happened at the Berlin Conference of 1884? European leaders decided how to divide Africa's land into colonies. Missionaries traveled to Africa to spread Christianity. Berlin, Germany became the capital of Europe, or the United States of America became a colony of Berlin. Number 3, at the Berlin Conference, there were 14 European nations present. Who was not consulted regarding occupation and usage of their resources and land? Americans, scientists and missionaries, the German ambassador, or representatives from Africa. Number 4, Felix is a young man who lives in Cameroon, Africa, which is not an identifiable culture trait for Felix. So there's going to be 1, 2, 3 things that describe Felix. You're going to pick the one that does not describe Felix. Felix lives on the slopes of Mount Cameroon in the Congo rainforest, where it rains almost every day. Felix attends secondary school, snaps to get the teacher's attention, and wears a blue uniform. His home is a 2-story brick house with a butler. His house has a large backyard where he plays cricket with his sister. Or Felix learns from adults how to use trees and plants for medicine. Number 5, it rains regularly in Cameroon. The climate of this country is related to what physiographic feature? The Congo Basin means rainforest, and it's humid, wet climate. The arid means hot, the arid wind from the Sahara Desert. Shifting tectonic plates caused Madagascar to become an island, or Mount Kilimanjaro is the tallest mountain peak in Africa. On number 5, choose the only option that talks about the climate zone where Felix lives. Number 6, Felix lives in Cameroon, Africa. Which statement about Felix is true? Felix traps meat for his family to prepare for meals. His great-grandmother rents homes to the villagers for supplemental income. The rainforest is dry and cold. Rhubarb, carrots, and other root vegetables are sold in the marketplace. Think about what you saw in the video about Felix from Cameroon and choose the answer that's true for number 6. Number 7, which water feature is named for a British monarch? It was a queen, and is the largest lake on the continent of Africa. Lake Victoria, Lake Royalty, Savannah, or the Nile River. Number 8, what piece of land off the southeastern coast of Africa used to be physically attached to the continent hundreds of thousands of years ago? It shifted into an island due to tectonic forces, and, hint, they made a cartoon movie and called it this. Madagascar, Zanzibar, Indian Ocean, or Atlantic Ocean. Number 9, which river flows northward through the Sahara Desert from Lake Victoria to the Mediterranean Sea? It is the longest river in Africa. Mississippi River, Niger River, Amazon River, or Nile River. Choose the one that's in Africa. Number 10, apartheid was a racist law formerly practiced in the country of South Africa that prohibited marriages between people of different races, made individuals register with the government based on their race, separated whites non-whites, and people of mixed ancestry, or all of the above, meaning all 1, 2, 3 of these are true about apartheid. Number 11, Nelson Mandela, South Africa's first Black president, won a Nobel Peace Prize in 1993. He is an important figure in contemporary African politics because that means, what did he do that's so important? He helped resolve the civil war and end genocide in a country called Rwanda. He was the first man to travel across the Sahara Desert. He helped end apartheid in South Africa. Or he promoted discrimination against Christians in Sudan. Here's a hint for number 11. See which country he was the president of, and then find that somewhere in your answer. Number 12, why is desertification the process by which land that can be farmed or lived on turns into desert such a huge problem in Africa? The Sahel and its farmland is slowly disappearing, and people rely on food from farms to survive. The Niger River Delta exits into the Atlantic Ocean at the Gulf of Guinea. Political and physical maps of Africa show the same types of geographic features, or Sahel means shore in Arabic. Choose the answer choice on number 12 that goes with the word desertification, about land that could be farmed and turning into desert. Number 13, people who travel across the scorching Sahara Desert believe that the best choice for clothing is a long, loose robe with long sleeves to allow air to circulate, shorts and a tank top because it's so hot, a heavy jacket to shield you from the sun's harmful rays, or blue jeans and a sweatshirt. Number 14, the small village of Timia in Niger is located in the middle of the Sahara Desert. Although the desert's arid means hot, arid climate and lack of rain make it difficult to thrive, a few people make their home in Timia because it's a spot in the desert with access to fresh groundwater and vegetation. Vegetation means plants. The village of Timia is likely located near a hotel retreat, an oasis, a savanna wildlife, or an industrial revolution. Numbers 15 through 18, I'll read the definition and you'll choose whether it's apartheid, desertification, diverse, or drought. Again, I'll read the definition and you're only going to have one word per definition. An official policy of racial separation formerly practiced in South Africa. You might want to go back up on the test and see if you see that where it talks about Nelson Mandela. A long period of time without rain, a variety of cultures and viewpoints, and the process by which farmland gets covered with sand and the desert gets bigger. For that one, I think you might want to go up a couple of questions and see if it talks about any of these words. Apartheid, desertification, diverse, or drought. For numbers 19 through 22, you do the same thing. Here's the words: missionary, racism, the Sahel, and savannah. And here's the Hey, I just had to take a quick break while we said the Pledge of Allegiance. So again, missionary, racism, the Sahel, savannah. So first, who's a person who travels to do social and religious work? Second, what's the thin, semi-arid grassland located south of the Sahara Desert? Then what's the flat region in East or Central Africa with abundant, that means lots of wildlife? And last but not least, what's that word that means discrimination or hatred based on race? Okay, so number 23. Once we read this, let's go back to the question. Societies throughout Africa produce food using one or more methods of production. Some individuals rely solely on cash crops, but others may be engaged in several modes of production. For example, farmers may hunt animals to add to the food that they use to feed their families. Similarly, Subsistence farmers may, in addition to growing food crops, have a small field in which they produce a crop such as indigo or cotton that they will sell at a market for additional income. So if you're a subsistence farmer, what does that mean? You grow a crop of substance beans, you trade plants for animals, you sell crops at markets to earn money for profit, or you grow crops only for eating. What does a subsistence farmer do? 24, same thing right here. When you grow crops to sell at markets, what's that called? You're trying to earn money for profit. Is that Africa, cash crops, subsistence farming, or irrigation? Use the word that means trying to make money. 25. Let's look at this picture right here where you can kind of see like very dried out soil. Families in Mali are watching in despair as their farmland turns to sand. In the past, efforts to stop desertification have focused on grand plans, such as planting thousands of trees to serve as windbreaks and stop the advancing sand. When there was no money to water the trees, they died, and the desert marched on. Today's plans are more modest. One idea is to convince villagers to collect firewood from far away, leaving live trees near the sand in place. Another idea is to change how people farm so that the soil doesn't blow away. Either way, the problem of desertification is affecting many families in Africa. So which of these statements is true based on what Ms. Smith just read? People in Africa are going to have to stop drinking water so they'll be able to water their trees. The problem of desertification is one that cannot be solved in Africa, no matter what's tried. Armies marching through the desert are the main cause of desertification. Or teaching villagers how to protect their farmland seems like the best way to fight desertification in Africa. All right, a narrow band of semi-arid land south of the Sahara. The Sahel attracted both Arabs looking for gold from Sudan and Europeans looking for slaves from West Africa. The two influences merged with native ones, creating a culturally complex area. The Sahel is widely French-speaking, Islamic, and takes its name, shore, from Arabic. So the Sahel means shore in a language called Arabic. But the region, one of the poorest and most environmentally damaged places on Earth, has deep troubles. In the 1970s, the Sahel captured international attention when drought and famine killed nearly 200,000 people. Though conditions have since improved, it is yet to shake a vicious cycle of soil erosion, insufficient irrigation, deforestation, overpopulation, desertification, and drought. Parts of the region, like Mali's legendary Timbuktu, are now more Sahara than Sahel. Based on the information that you read in the paragraph, you would just click here when you've read the paragraph. So number 26, based on the information, we can infer that the Sahel has been, does it sound like a very lush, productive agricultural region? Agriculture means farming. Does it sound like a historical crossroads of cultures and civilizations? Is it a fast-growing, largely urban region? Urban means cities. Or is it Africa's largest desert? So this is where the Sahel is. It stretches across the continent from the Atlantic Ocean over to the Red Sea. So the Sahel's ability to produce cash crops, that means farming crops and plants that you can sell for money. Which of these directly affects cash crops? The rainy seasons flood the farmland, so crops won't grow. Desertification is turning farmland into soil that can't be used for crops. The Nile River doesn't cross the Sahel, or many farmers cook with coal, and the smoke from the ovens causes crops to die. To answer number 27, I'm going to go right back up here to the very last sentence about how the Sahel is yet to shake a vicious cycle. And I might find a word up here in this area that helps me answer number 27. So geographically, when you look at this continent of Africa, The Sahel is stretching across the continent on the southern border of the Sahara Desert. Is it on the island of Madagascar, or is it at the base of the slopes of Mount Cameroon in the Congo rainforest? This reading passage says, according to the paragraph about Africa. Ms. Smith's going to read this paragraph, and then we'll go through the answer choices together. Many problems facing Africa today can be blamed on European colonialism. Political corruption often happens in African governments because European colonial powers left without establishing structure and stable leadership. Conflicts between ethnicities, that's different types of people, exists now because borders in colonial Africa were made without any thought given to the different tribes and villages. Tribalism is a problem because tribes that were enemies were forced to live together within one European-made country. An example of ethnic tension is the conflict between the tribes of the Hutus and the Tutsis in Rwanda. In just 100 days in 1994, about 800,000 Tutsi people were slaughtered by the Hutu militia. The nation of Rwanda was made by the Belgians before they left the continent of Africa. Thousands of Tutsis were targeted and massacred by the Hutus who were left in power by the Belgians. Thousands more Tutsis fled back to the Congo as refugees of the genocide. This genocide can be directly traced back to the withdrawal of European colonial powers. So what sounds like what Ms. Smith read, an inference from the passage? The Belgians in the Congo were particularly horrible to the villagers in Cameroon. Both the nations of Zaire and Kenya have significant population of Hutus and Tutsis. Many of Africa's modern-day problems can be blamed on European colonialism, or Rwanda is not capable of governing itself. I would probably find a sentence that is the introduction and the closing of this paragraph and find an answer choice that sounds the same. Number 30, we've got to read this map, and why don't you look at where Mrs. Smith, when I push my, oh, goodness gracious, excuse me, I just had a sneeze. When I push my cursor, you can see where the line goes right here, and I'm gonna try and use this to help you out. Using the map key, it's this right here, identify how many European countries established colonies in Africa in 1914. We're going to do some counting. So it's either 5, 7, 8, or 17. Remember, you're going to count the number of European countries that are on this map key. Number 31. What's the name of the small British island located off the eastern coast of German East Africa? First, we've got to find German East Africa, and then we have to look at the tiny island that's off the coast. Is it called Zanzibar, Madagascar, Rio de Oro, or Smithston? 32. Which of these regions was controlled by the Belgian Empire in 1914? Belgian, let's look at what they look like. They're this one that's white with the tiny horizontal lines going across. Is it Abyssinia, which is white? Union of South Africa, which is up and down lines? Congo, which is tiny horizontal lines? Or is it Nigeria, which is up and down lines? Which one does the Congo look like? Which one was occupied by Belgium? Okay, last couple of questions. This is all the forested land in African countries. So these are the countries right here. And the lines, the bigger they are, is the more forest area that they have. Which of these had the least, smallest amount of forest land? Was it Nigeria, Kenya, Gabon, or Zambia? Which one was the least, the smallest line? Again, we're looking at this chart. Which country had about 170,000 square kilometers of forest land in 2000? So here's 1,000 and here's, 100,000 and 200,000. We've got to find the line that's about 170,000? Is it Nigeria, Kenya, Angola, or Cameroon? And you're done. Good luck. I hope you did really well. Let your teacher know if you have any questions, and thanks so much.